Hello, friends and kindred hearts. Welcome back to Sage Thyme. We've got a reading today under the sign of Taurus, whether it's your sun, Venus, midheaven, sixth house, whatever influence Taurus has in your chart, it is there. And this will be a wonderful insight and viewfinder to how this particular reading is influencing you through your chart. So, all right, let's get started. There is a lot going on around the throat in this reading. I had my zipper zipped up, and as soon as I started recording a few minutes ago, I had to start over again. I felt this just vice around my throat. Then I realized as I was prepping to read, I have some nice herbal tea that I call throat coat. Totally inspired to make that tea today. I generally use it if I feel a cold or flu coming on. It's got licorice root in it as an expectorant, and the cloves and the nutmeg antimicrobial. And I'm telling you all of this because it all pertains. You know, the actions that something will do in the natural medicine that we're using, like an herbal tea, those actions like antimicrobial, antiviral, throat chakra, expectorant, these are things that you can find an analogy or metaphor overlay with what's going on in your life right now. And I say that because this reading is coming through so loud and proud. And at the same time, it's like, again, and not from me, from the viewers that this reading is going to really resonate with at the time that this reading lands with you. It has a lot to do with gossip. That's been wanted to just be said out loud. I was hearing as I was getting myself ready for the video, just, no, not Gossip Girls again. The idea of this chatter. I'm just going to go right into it. This is the second card in your reading. I'll show you the first one in a second. And as soon as this came out, 10 of Pentacles, we're not going to really discuss that right now. But there was just a loud buzzing, and not the internal kind of buzzing you get during a download or a recalibration. This was external, so much it's like pushing up on my temporal lobes. And here's you, my beautiful Taurian friend. You're that little, what that little eye is connected to. I don't know if it's actually supposed to be an eye. You're tired of the gossip, and you're under this bush, just hiding from you. Like, I'm tired of it. It's not even a bramble bush. It's got nice flowers on it. The crow's sitting on top, the bringer of truth. And it's almost like he's sitting on top of where you're hiding, which isn't that great of a hiding place. It's got all these holes in it, and you can be seen and everything. Just like how you can feel and hear, in one sense or another, other people's gossip. There's no real strong protection around you. And the crow's on top going, yep, you're being talked about. It's not nice. Yep, this is true. The bringer of truth. Crow's not attached, whether the fact of it's, something you are enjoying or not. It's just, this is how it is. And so here's the buzzing. And I have a feeling that there are these two aspects of buzzing for you in your life. I believe, or I'm feeling that you are somebody whom your purpose is tied into positive buzzing. Not the buzzword, but you're kind of the buzzword. Who you are, how you represent yourself, whatever your career is in artistry, something like that. Your career's success is based on a population enjoying it, and the talk and spread and word of mouth of that. But it comes with the flip side of the coin. So we've got all these beautiful flowers and these little thornies around it, and the little black spots on the bees are really talking about how the other end of it, of Gossip Girls, I'm feeling really choked up about it because it affects you. So many times I just want to stop this video because it's affecting my voice. It's affecting your voice and your heart. And because it's affecting your heart, that's affecting your voice. And your voice is part of your artistry. It's part of what you share. And so when there's these reverberations of gossiping that is in the defamation, the counterpart of the uplifting talk about the town of you and what you're up to, when there's the defamation and the judge and just a lot of opinions, and they're not kind, and they're quite very much the opposite of kind. And you feel it. Of course you feel it. You're an artist. That's what makes you a great artist, whatever that is. Whether it's graffiti on the wall on, city buildings, or you go on walks and you make mandalas out of stones and leaves. Or maybe it's something like you simply speak to people, and that's your art, or you write. It's affecting it, which in effect is affecting your soul. And that needs to come out of you. You need an expectorant like licorice root. Now here's a lovely little thing. We can work on all the different types of platforms that are representative of something that we're going through. So if we're dealing with gossip, I've heard that if you see a bunch of those little earwig bugs, that's a good indicator of gossip. Also, what are those called? The black and white birds, magpies, I believe, which did try to come out on this spread. Those represent, or blue jays also, gossip from family, gossip from community with that. And where was I going with this? When you are able to find other avenues of working through something that has a similarity to it, like licorice root, breaking up that phlegmy stuff that gets stuck in our throats, and we can make that into a bit of a metaphor, see what matches metaphorically with what we're going through, and we can work with the spirit medicine of a plant or an animal or an art form. Like we're often informed for having trouble speaking and expressing ourselves to write. Well, most definitely there can be art forms and expressions to break free of the binds that this defamation gossip, because this has been going on your whole life, it's somehow transcribed in the script of your storyline. So instead of fighting it or trying to burn it down, let's transform it and transmute it. We can't deny what it is, but let's make it work for you and for the better benefit of the world as a whole, so you can come out of this. Yeah, it's time. So that realization is the Page of Swords, and how perfectly timed. Those little sparks of clarity. What did Lillian just say? Something about finding different ways that are synonymous or a metaphor of what I deal with, and work it from that angle. You can connect with that reverent heart and that peaceful state through this expression. Maybe it is a certain playlist and expressive dancing, and putting on soundproof headphones to block out the noise, and just you and the reverberation of a song and its melody and its rhythm and its cadence, moving through your body, in your body, moving it through you, opening up the more powerful parts of you that are just free and joyous. And damn, yeah. Find what that is for you. No longer do you need to deny, run from, fight back, push back, ignore the things that are affecting your life, because they are affecting your life. And shoving it down into the side just creates a pile up. So let's find ways for you to easily and readily transform it so that you can use it as your power. You can alchemize it within you, and it becomes a power that you choose it to be, a power of compassion and clarity. There's that clarity. Compassion coming from the wound of the effects of things that happened towards you, at you. So you know how it feels to be targeted or victimized or defamed, or stalking has been coming up a lot for me, energetically and or literally. But prior to this reading, it was coming up. Alchemizing it into the antidote. And what would the antidote to gossiping in a defamation sort of way be? Clarity. Listening. Accepting with kindness and compassion something, someone that you don't agree with, that shakes you somehow. I don't love the word triggers, but activates a part of you that needs to come to your awareness. This is what this Six of Pentacles was speaking to me of. I was thinking about the relationship between this oxen and bird, and I forget the name of the bird right now, but it's the one that hangs out. They have a bit of a symbiotic relationship, quite a bit of one. And so they get to go on a ride on these giant oxen, and they pick at the ticks and the fleas and the flies, keeping them out of the eyes and less of a nuisance for the oxen. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Interdependent, you could even say. But sometimes even the healthiest relationships can be codependent. And then when that starts happening, when one or the other can't do what they need to do without the other, that puts them in a position to be, for the scales to become imbalanced. For all the reasons that really don't need any fault or blame. They happen. Because behind every reason that we could blame any one individual, there's another reason behind them that could blame somebody else, and on it goes, backwards, in reverse of the tape. And you'll end up ultimately finding out that every perpetrator was a victim, on and on and on and on and on. So there's really no one to blame, ever, ever, never. And then, of course, we start seeing how we've played all the roles in some form or another. And in a form that we don't see of ourselves. And that particular form is really strong, where somebody else may be doing something that we don't like and we're judging it, even though it's very akin to something that we've been doing. But because they're doing it in a way that isn't how we did it, and if we did it their way, we wouldn't be as potent and powerful at causing harm. We're not as good at it, so to speak. But we have our own way. Maybe it's ill thinking or I don't know. Just we have our own flavor and way in circumstances that we always can feel justified in, because there was a reason for it happening and it made sense and it seemed right. It's always that story. Very rare will we find an individual whom didn't feel justified in something that they did that was wrong or unkind or cruel even. Because number one, they couldn't or wouldn't see how significant the impact would be to harm another. And number two, because the rational mind is a tricky, tricky thing, and it has excellent firewalls to block the inner awareness if we are not taking the daily, moment-to-moment, day-to-day steps of staying in awareness. Very present, very clear as to what's going on in our mental and emotional bodies that are the most subtle and quiet, as well as the obvious in our actions. It's that kind of awareness and clarity and the fidelity to stay in that clear awareness, that presence within, which is a painful process. In fact, it's not even, of course it's a process, but it's painful in the kind of way that it will kind of always come with a pain. Like stubbing your toe does not get any more pleasant or less hurtful. We just learn how to move through life with better periphery and awareness so that we don't stub our toe as much. And that's what's happening here. There was a realization that a mutually beneficial relationship, either between people, but I'm feeling more it's between self and a circumstance, that it does have a shadow side. And there needs to be a better balance struck, like the 3 and the 3 of the 6 pentacles. So you're developing a greater sense of independence and strength in areas where you would have leaned on others, and it's giving you empowerment. You're feeling more powerful in that, and that power is strengthening the truth of who you are, that clarity. So when things come in that are distorting of that pure truth and clarity of you, the strength of the truth of who you are is strong enough to counter it and alchemize it or co-reverberate, as in 2 pebbles dropped into a pool of water in different places, and the frequencies come together, and the one that's stronger is able to alter, I guess to say, the weaker wavelength. Yeah, I think you know what I'm saying. That just came out goofy. There's something else that keeps wanting to come through on this card, and every time I go to say it, it gets turned off or something else comes in, which is important somehow as well. There it is. The bull, for instance, in this illustration is starting to realize his own part in the things that aren't working out well for him. And the areas where he leaned a little too hard on somebody else or something else. And as a result of it not working out and, creating a little infection on his head instead of simply removing the tick, he's reflecting, this bull, on how when that happened, he started hurt. And so he started to get grumpy, and he was reacting in ways that he didn't see the impact and the hurt and harm that it caused. And thus, coming full circle, maybe he started gossiping about this bird, like, God, can you believe it? And he became the perpetrator in his own sense. And I think that what's happening is you're seeing this more and more, and instead of rationalizing that, oh, it wasn't as bad when I did it because this was why, you're realizing, oh, that's the conversation of everybody everywhere all the time. Oh, so what do I do with that? Shit. I love the way the cards are coming through in this storyline today. And that's when the little illumination, ping, for the magician. You're the magician. And you have all these elements. You've got your cups and your coins and your light and, clouds and air and Your wand is your wand. And you're realizing that all the parts make up all the parts. And we are not only one part of all the parts together, we're also all the parts within us one, which makes us all the things, which makes us having done all the things and having had them done to us in all the ways of all the things too. And our experience and our wisdom and our talents and gifts are only as big as is the development and entry into both of those polarities. The willingness or circumstantial thrown into the deep end of the pool situations of, I'm so over being the subject of the nasty gossip girl situation, as well as becoming your own gossip girl and feeling rationalized and justified and why that was there, and then realizing, oh. And it's all of those things that make you a stronger and stronger, more powerful and gifted and potentiated magician. The more of all the things that you have and have experienced on both ends of the polarity. And sometimes, I want a prop. Here we go. Sometimes you don't just have one side and another of a coin. Sometimes that victim perpetrator, so to speak, has many facets, and we have to play the role of all the facets, as well as what it is to be in the middle of all that and experiencing different angles of more than one, more than two, or all of them at the same time. You get what I'm saying there? And this card, you know, the Ace of Pentacles. This came out very clear as claircognizance and clairsentience. You know it because it's known, all the parts of it, when you've experienced all the facets possible and what's to be within and how those facets interact and affect one another, depending on where the sun is positioned at that particular hour of the day, so to speak. You get it, and now your body gets it. Clairsentience. Your body knows it. It knows it in its energetic, electromagnetic frequency memory. It knows it, and it shows because when you feel that gossip coming in of defamation, for instance, and before it used to just gut you. It's not that you don't feel it. You feel that grief, but you've at the same time, because you've done the work and the patterning and the repetition of that alchemy work, when it lands, it activates this sadness and grief memory, and then this embrace and compassion and understanding. Memory. In all the cells of all the parts of all of you. You're fabulous. My goodness, Taurus, what a reading. Thank you. It's been an honor. I feel like, do we want something more? We want something more. One more thing. I'm going to pull from my new deck, the Forest Meditations. It feels right. And, oh my goodness, it flipped and landed on my knee. There you go. This came out, I think, in the last reading. Forest colors, the artist, the painter, creating new colors and doing it creatively, and colors that come from a place that is natural of the earth. You know what to do with all that. And if you aren't sure and you're not remembering the knowing already, go out into nature and let her remind you. She'll show you. She'll tell you. Claircognizance, clairsentience. You'll know. Okay, my friends, what a gorgeous reading. How perfectly concise as well. My heart goes to all of you. Much love and have a blessed, blessed day.